This is Mike Quinlan along with Jason Miller. We're here at week 2. We're going to talk a little bit about the Lisbon game that we just got by, but also talk a lot about the Columbus Catholic game coming by. Jason, the Bears, I know we were pretty stunned by a 61-20 score. We were expecting a defensive battle. What was your impression of the Bears in that first game?
Well, first things first is you don't expect. I mean, you expect some turnovers the first week, but you don't expect 3 of them to result in touchdowns. Right. And you also don't expect to score on all 3 facets of the game in the first quarter. A special teams touchdown, a defensive touchdown, and an offensive touchdown. You might do that throughout the season, but not in one game in the first quarter. So I think to that degree, I think they ought to be very, very happy. I think maybe a little bit surprised with how it happened. But to score that many points in the first game, Mike, is not expected against a team that's going to be pretty good.
And Lisbon will be in the playoffs at the end of the year. We know that. That was an anomaly, but I thought it showed you a lot about our West Branch team as far as our being athletic, showing speed, and just the development of Ty Hughes at the quarterback was just amazing to watch.
Yeah, you can see that he's very confident with the offense. Coach Hirschman has talked about that. He talked about with me last week and off camera as well, that Ty was really quick to pick up this offense, Mike. And it's one of those things is he's a senior for one, but to see him come to a new offense, pick it up, the kids believe in him. They have confidence in the huddle in him. So 12 of 14 for 190 yards, that's a pretty nice debut.
Yeah, and then to see what Carver Belk did, getting back to his natural position at wide receiver, using his athletic ability, was really good to see. And Carver got to play some great defense, too.
He made us look good last week when we talked about him being the big playmaker from his sophomore year. He comes out with, 5 catches for 96 yards and a couple scores, basically 20 yards a catch. That's at 19.2 if you want to do the math right. Does that sound right, Matt? Okay. Math checks out, but 19 yards a catch and 2 touchdowns. That's a pretty nice weapon to have, and he spread the ball out really well, Mike, I think.
Oh, yeah, and, and Andy Henson only getting 8 carries. You double that or triple it sometimes, his production is going to be right up there, but he had just as many yards receiving.
He had a very quiet 150 yards of total offense and 3 total touchdowns. He had, 72 yards rushing, 78 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns in 2 quarters of football. Yeah. So, but needless to say, the Bears played a very good first game, but they can't rest on that as they go forward this week, traveling to Waterloo.
Well, and if they remember last year, this Columbus Catholic team came down to the Little Rose Bowl, pulled out a 17-6 win. So we know that they are talented. They played a very good Dyke New Hartford team, who's like number 2 in the state, I think, and lost to them by what?
42-14. But I don't think, you look at that score like, wow, Dyke does what Dyke does, and they won big. But last year it was a close game. But you understand, Waterloo Columbus was ahead in that game 7-0 quick on a pick 6. Then Dyke puts up 3 consecutive touchdowns. Then Waterloo Columbus gets a long pass play to set up a 2-yard touchdown pass at the end of the first half. And then the statement of Dyke does what Dyke does, Mike, is they just run that pro offense. They just wear you out. Then all of a sudden they throw one downtown for 228 yards passing, and then they scored 3 late touchdowns to win 42-14.
So this will be a real good test for the Bears this week. They always talk about improvement from the first week to the second week. Where do you see the Bears improving the most going from week 1 to week 2?
Well, offensive line, I think, is going to be where they need to improve the most, Mike, because Waterloo Columbus, 17-6, will tell you all you need to know. That's a physical football team. They're very big up front. They lost a quarterback that threw for 1,700 and 600. He led both of those categories for them, and he lost their next best running back for as far as running yards. Their second, third receivers, but back they have a lot of beef, led by Mason Knipp up front. I know the kid. He's my first cousin is his nephew. It's his uncle. Okay. So not related to me, but I've seen him since he was a little kid playing football, and I've heard about him, just watch him on film. 65. He's going to be one to watch.
Well, and once again, one of the benefits of going to this district format, we're going to a brand new field that we have now. We've played at a lot of fields over the years, but this is the first one. If you can't make it up there, Bear fans, obviously listen to us on the Bearcast, but it's your chance to see another field. Yeah. Have you ever been up there?
Never. I've watched a couple games on, a couple years ago when they played Sigourney Kyoto, but really quick, besides Mason Knipp, just watch some of the skill players. Their new kids, Mike Carter Lockhart is their new quarterback. He had 130 yards. He had 3 picks, but he had 130 yards passing against a very good Dyke team. The guy they're going to try to get the ball in the hands of is number 4, Caleb Holthouse. Last year he had 700 yards receiving, and the other night he had 20. He had 7 touches on rushes. He had 6 receptions. So they're really going to try to get him the ball. They're going to be tough because they're physical up front, and
yeah, and the Bears are going to have to match that physicality. It sounds like we got another lineman working in along with Jackson Kaleberg. But talk about Quentin.
Quentin Rocha is a big kid. He had been out for a little while, and now he's back playing, and he's a 5'11", 240 pound, just a bowling ball to block. He's going to be tough to block, and he's going to add another element to the defense.
Well, and you can never have enough linemen, especially if they're going both ways.
Specifically at a 1A football
and especially
school.
in an August heat. So that's a good thing. So, and don't forget that our Tuesday Media Day is sponsored by Stephen Grace and Jessica Grace from Main Street Suites. So we always appreciate our sponsors, and Gracie does a great job down there.